everybody, I'm Dr. Sean Amir. I'm a health and performance optimizing physician from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I specialize in optimizing people's health and their performance and really how well they live their life. I'm one of the few people in the world, few physicians, who actually specialize in this. I don't really know anybody else who's doing this, to be honest with you, who's a physician. But what it means is it's my passion and what I specialize in. So I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how you do that. And in particular, I'm very fascinated by why some people do and why some people don't. And it's not because how hard you try. It's not because how much resilience you have. There's been lots of studies about grit and resilience, like who's successful in getting through West Point is how much grit you have. I think Angela Duckworth wrote that book. It's not how hard you work. It's not how intelligent you are. It's not how much money you have. It comes down to one thing, and I'm going to tell you what that is in this video. So you want to pay attention and follow to the end. So let me ask you a question. Why do people worsen as they get older? As they age, it's not just because they're aging that they worsen. Their health deteriorates, their performance deteriorates. That's why you don't see 60, 70-year-olds in the NFL. It's because of chronic disease. Chronic disease happens because people live poorly. They make improper decisions on a daily basis about how they should live their life. So the defining feature to declining health is poor insight. And we'll get into exactly why that happens. But it's basically the accumulation of more disease that's happening. It's a lifestyle problem. So the truth is you should actually improve as you age. The best players in the NFL should be by far older people. Now we're starting to see glimmers of that with Tom Brady and some older players that have a lot of skill that have dedicated themselves to taking care of themselves better than the average football player. I've taken some of my clients are NFL players. They're really not good. The reason is they don't bring the discipline they have in the field into their kitchen and their lifestyle, and they make poor choices. So I'm going to get into exactly what you got to do to really optimize and improve your health. There's one key asset that I'm going to get into. So you really want to be improving in yourself. In the past, this naturally happened because our survival depended upon a certain awareness that your life and your very existence and how well you lived was determined by the level of health you have. And so if you couldn't run really fast to catch other prey to survive, you wouldn't eat. You couldn't provide for your family, or you'd become food for other people, other predators. So this force of nature is called selection pressure, and it's what did something very extraordinary. Humans are the only species that have always improved significantly better than other species. Our adaptability and how we evolved continuously improved because of our awareness that we can make decisions to optimize ourselves. Today that's gone. Selection pressure is no longer present in our species. It's been replaced by something I call selection pleasure. So our survivability no longer is predicated to the degree it used to be upon our survivability. Everybody pretty much gets to survive, mostly the average person, regardless of how well they live. Unfortunately, or how they live. Unfortunately, the quality of their life is very, very different. We call that health span. So how well you live is dramatically worse than how we used to live in the past in terms of our health span. We have much more disease. In fact, we have more disease today than we ever have had in the existence of our species. So selection pressure has been removed, but it's been replaced by selection pleasure, where we just choose whatever we want. We eat whatever we want, whatever brings us pleasure, instead of what really improves us and optimizes us. So it's a very important difference and an insight that's really defining in terms of how you're going to live your life. So the one insight, let me just get to it. The one insight that separates the person who improves in their health and in their performance and their quality of life is this one. And it's best described by this quote here. And this quote is from Miyamoto Musashi. And this quote basically means once you understand something really, really clear, broadly, you see it in all things. But until you understand it broadly, fully, you can't see it in all things. So here's the point. The one thing that I have found that allows people to optimize and separates them from the 99.999% of society, of the rest of our species, is if you understand that your body is your most important physical asset. It's really simply that. If you understand your body is your most important physical asset, you fully understand that. Not your money, bank accounts, financial portfolio, cars, yachts, houses. I asked this question once on the internet and somebody said it was their laptop. I thought, what a sad life. So if you understand that your body is your most important physical asset, then you see it in everything, the decisions you make. And until you understand that, you really can't be making the appropriate decisions. So the person who improves his life is the person who understands that and makes these decisions on a daily basis. This quote was actually brought to my awareness through Joe Rogan, one of his quotes. He's an interesting guy, Joe Rogan. I mean, like him or not, or his positions on things, the guy is really good at his job. He's very interesting. He's good at a lot of things. You know, he's got this insight. But here's one thing he fails at. Joe Rogan is deteriorating. His body is falling apart. And the reason is, even though this is one of his favorite quotes, and he likes to quote it a lot, and he picks up on it when people mention it as guests, he does not understand that his body is the most important physical asset. Now, he may not have ever really thought about that, but how he lives his life is definitely not in alignment that his body is his most important physical asset. If he understood that, saw that, believed it, he would start living very differently and something very dramatic would happen. He would start improving instead of worsening. So somebody knows Joe, is friends with him, gets him that one insight, he can figure that out and he'll begin to make better decisions. But he also has to understand too what he has to do to improve himself. And that's another reason why you want to follow people that are in this particular space. So follow me and follow other people that look good, perform well, and provide this kind of content. So I'm going to cut to you what I recommend for optimization. Here's this one page. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see that and you can hopefully screenshot that. And those are 2 steps that I recommend. Here are a couple more on food and eating fermented kind of foods, in particular eating probiotic fermented foods. And then a couple other steps about fasting and what you should, kind of fluids to drink, and about exercise, the kind of exercise you should be doing, and a little bit about a very interesting practice called stress hormesis, and a little bit about this really, really exciting thing that I would have to say, if you are not optimizing this and you don't understand, you cannot reach a level of being fully biologically optimized without understanding the microbiome. And I'm going to keep this video short, won't go into all of it, I'll do other videos about it, but just setting it up. And then a little bit about the last 2 steps on what you should pay attention to in terms of your functionality and your level of biology to track. And then a little bit about how you can measure different interesting things and using technology in a way that we don't currently use with regard to health. Most technology we do, in fact, I'll say it, all of the technology we use is designed not to optimize you, but to optimize the revenue of the healthcare system. Either the organization you're getting your care from or health insurance companies. It's all about profitability, not biological optimization. So I want to change how we use technology to really make patients better. If it was really to make you better, you'd be getting better instead of getting more medicines, needing more medicines, having more problems. And then a little bit about insights and a little bit about motivation and who I like to work with, particular clients, if they're very motivated and they grasp that their body, genuinely grasp that their body is the most important physical asset. I like to study them to figure out, because I'm a health and performance optimizing physician, the very best strategies for optimizing and improving. And why I like to research that, and eventually I'll be writing a book that I'll be giving away all these strategies that I've learned for free. I'm not gonna give away all of my proceeds. Somebody else will probably make money, I suppose, the publisher, but I'll give my proceeds away because I've recognized it all comes from nature, and I just don't think I should be profiting from what is available freely for everybody. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Sean O'Meara, at DrSeanomara, or you can follow me and learn more about potentially working with me if you want to optimize yourself. At my website is www.drseanomara.com. And I also have a 501c3 that I've set up. It's a charity that's set up, an educational charity to educate, provide awareness about what we should be doing, that your body is, to help people have increased awareness that their body is the most important physical asset, and what they should be following to optimize the body, and what they should do to optimize their body. And I hope to create educational materials for students in elementary school, junior high, high school, college level students, veterans, the military, first responders, and the marginalized in society to help them with opportunities. I came from a modest background and worked my way up, was able to get to where I am today as a physician, go to medical school. So I like to help out other people, and this is great content. And if you've been following me and you like my content, and you're in a position that you would like to help other people optimize, particularly in our country, in the United States, then I'd love for you to consider making a financial contribution to my 501c3, and you can contact me about that. It's currently in the developing website, so you have to contact me directly about doing that. So real quick, one of the things I promote is awareness of visceral fat. This is an abdominal scan through the abdomen. So these are the muscles in the back. So the person is lying on their back. This is their vertebral body, their core. And these dark structures on the sides are their muscles. And all the white in the middle is visceral fat. This is highly inflammatory substance that is constantly secreting cytokines and adipokines and other inflammatory molecules, harmful molecules that leave that fat and travel throughout the body and literally cause you to fall apart, chronic disease. So I like to bring an awareness of this. It's not taught in medical school. You go ask your doctor about visceral fat. He or she probably wouldn't even be able to tell you anything about it. And they certainly couldn't read it in an MRI scan. You can now read this, and they can't. So if you have ever had an abdominal MRI or a CT of your abdomen, guaranteed it's never been read for visceral fat. You need to go back and read it. You need to use it to get rid of it. It's how much you have and how long you've had it. So we could dump a bunch of into you and it won't matter until a period of time. Or we could put a little bit in you and you can have it for a very long period of time and it will cause lots of disease. So it's a function of how much you have and how long you've had it. And almost nobody's aware about it. But I specialize in getting rid of it. And I set this 501c3 to be able to hopefully influence the curriculum in medical schools and teach personal trainers and health coaches and everybody I can to be aware of visceral fat, because there's nothing else in the body that you can track that will improve the level of health more than visceral fat. If you know, and you're listening to this, of something better to track and improve the health of somebody better than visceral fat, I'd like you to contact me. I'd like to know about what that is. And I want to make sure you understand about visceral fat. If you think it's something else, you need to study visceral fat and ask yourself, maybe I get this wrong. And here's an example of what happens when you remove visceral fat. Series of 6 scans and a 68-year-old guy who did one thing to get rid of visceral fat. The one thing he did was he cut out eating processed foods. He just ate clean, meat and vegetables in whole form. Hopefully, we can all agree, regardless of your vegan, vegetarian, South Beach, Mediterranean diet, carnivore, paleo, keto, whatever, that processed foods is no bueno, not good stuff. So this guy, that's all he did. He didn't exercise 1 minute. He cut out processed foods, and he dramatically reduced his visceral fat up there, where he has this big belly, to now this shape down here, where he looks more like a college swimmer. Nice oval shaped abdomen. He got a 6-pack without exercising, just by cutting out that processed foods. So you want to improve yourself, get rid of that visceral fat. And this is how much, this shows an example of how visceral fat changes your face. It causes an inflamed looking face. So your face literally improves as you get rid of visceral fat because of the lack of inflammatory molecules no longer being released by that visceral fat. And just so you know, I actually weigh more today than I did when I had this picture at age 48. So at the age 59 today, I actually weigh about 11 pounds more than I do here. And it's from losing fat and putting on extra muscle and getting rid of particularly the bad fat. So it's not just the weight you lose, but the kind of tissue you lose. Wouldn't you like to know that you're losing tissue that is bad for you instead of good tissue? And it's not sub-Q fat that most women wear around them. It's visceral fat that causes the most problem. So, and it also affects your body. So here's an example of my own abdomen, my belly sticking out. I didn't really have much visceral fat there, but the influence of visceral fat caused my abdomen to stick out, because the dad bod really is a reflection of not so much fat pushing out mechanically. It's the influence of that fat causing the muscles to no longer work and the tissues to no longer contain your gut. So the dad bod is weakened muscles causing your belly to stick out. So you see these guys walking around, they're just declaring, this is how much disease I have. This is how much I've fallen apart. It's not cool. It's not attractive. And if you are attracted to that, you've got something wrong with you. And you need to have an awareness that that's just a disease state. And I suppose there are some people with that kind of a bizarre attraction for disease. Hopefully that's not you. And hopefully you're more attracted to health. So as I got rid of my visceral fat and I recovered from the influence of visceral fat, I got a nice flat stomach. My muscles became more toned in my arms, and my vasculature, see the veins in my hand right here, they're much better, more pronounced than my veins here. And it's because when you get rid of visceral fat, your blood flows better. And blood flowing better throughout the body means visible pulses and better, healthier tissues that get that blood supply. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and this introduction. And to wrap this up, the most important thing for you, if you really want to get better and stop falling apart, is to understand that your body is your most important physical asset. And once you understand that and believe it, then you can begin to make decisions on a daily basis. You see it in everything. Everything, what you decide to eat, what you decide to do, how you decide to exercise, whether, everything about your life, you start making informed decisions. Somebody can teach Joe Rogan his most important physical asset is his body, then he too can start applying one of his favorite quotes from Miyamoto Musashi and start gaining insight about making those better decisions. If you like this video, give it a like. If you know anybody who's falling apart, getting disease, share this video with them. Help them to understand that their body, more than anything else, is their most important physical asset, because it alone best defines how much they're going to enjoy their life or suffer in their life. And understand that's really what it comes down to. I've taken care of many very wealthy members of royal families, billionaires from hedge funds, and even previous presidents and vice presidents, and really and I'm talking about the United States companies, the most important feature is their physical body defines how much and how well they're going to live, their level of health. Because all those billions of dollars and those people can't save their lives when they're in diapers, stroking out. And they stroke out just, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this, the royal family members all over the world stroke out and are in diapers, miserable, just like the poorest people, because they too lack that insight. It doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is you understand your body is your most important physical asset. Then when you're older, you will have lived a good long life, unless you have some sort of traumatic accident. I can't help you from that. That could happen. But your health span is defined by how healthy you are, and the quality of your life is how you've lived your life and taken care of that body. Okay, again, share this with other people, and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and as always, I invite questions and comments. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Another Optimize.